Maria couldn't accept that her son was dead. She wanted to see him one last time, just one last time. So in the dead of night, she ran to her son's grave. "I'm coming for you, baby. I will see you soon," she wept as she dug. But when she finally opened the coffin, she was speechless. It was a dark and cold night. It was drizzling, so most of the villagers were indoors and fast asleep. In a nearby river, close to a graveyard, frogs were croaking loudly. In that graveyard, two men were digging a tomb with all their strength. Despite the cold, they were sweating like sinners in church. "Keep digging, go faster," Maria whispered as tears streamed down her eyes. "Do you want to take the dead man's body away? Why do you want to disturb the dead?" One of the men who was digging asked. "You won't understand. He's my son. I just want to see his face one last time. Dig faster," Maria almost screamed. Just then, she sank to the ground, and memories of the past filled her mind. Maria was 42 years old when she finally gave birth to her son, Alex. At 21, she tied the knot with her childhood friend, Robert. Unfortunately, after their marriage, Maria couldn't conceive. The doctors eventually told her she would never have children. After 19 years of marriage, Robert packed up his bags one morning and left. Maria was devastated and became a laughingstock in the village. A year later, Maria's neighbor Olivia had a visitor. His name was Daniel, and he was Olivia's cousin. Maria noticed that the boy, who was in his early 20s, often stared at her seductively. 2 weeks later, Olivia asked Maria if she could get Daniel a job at the company where she worked, and she agreed. The following week, Daniel started working alongside Olivia, and this made them close. During this period, Maria fell helplessly in love with Daniel but hid her feelings from him. What would people say of her if they learned that she was in love with a man half her age? Trust me, she did a good job concealing her feelings until one day when Daniel visited her unannounced. "I see the way you look at me. You're crazy about me," Daniel whispered and caressed Maria's long blonde hair. Maria tried to resist him, but he was quite charming, and they ended up in bed. Much to Maria's surprise, Daniel was cold to her the next day at work and stopped taking her calls. When Maria confronted him, he screamed at her, "I don't want to be with an old woman like you. Get lost." Maria counted her losses and moved on, but something shocking happened the next month. Maria found out that she was pregnant. When she returned from the hospital, she also learned that Daniel had gone back home. Yes, perfect. He doesn't need to know about the baby. "I will keep the child and love it endlessly," Maria thought. While pregnant, Maria locked herself indoors because she was embarrassed. She hated the way the villagers stared at her stomach. Although no one dared ask her about the father of her child, the question was boldly written in their curious eyes. In due time, Maria gave birth to a baby boy and named him Alex. As soon as she carried the little boy in her arms, she felt at peace. Every pain and betrayal she had suffered was now worth it. Alex grew up to be a happy and vibrant boy, and everyone loved him. He was brilliant and excelled in his studies. In his senior year, he fell in love with his classmate, Lena. They studied together and made plans for the future. After graduating high school, Alex told his mom that he would join the military. Maria tried to discourage him, but his mind was made up. Soon enough, he left for his military base. 5 days after Alex left, Maria got a disturbing call from Lena. "Hello, Auntie. Have you heard the news? There is an ongoing war at the border where Alex was posted," Lena said amidst tears. Maria was worried sick, but later that day, Alex called her. "Where are you? I'm so worried. Are you okay?" Maria asked. However, when she heard her son's voice, she felt at ease. He sounded happy and told her he wouldn't be joining the war since he was newly recruited. "I will call you tomorrow. Kisses," Alex said and hung up. But the next day, Maria didn't hear from him. She kept her phone beside her, but there were no calls from Alex. The following week, she went to the military enlistment office to ask about her son, and they told her that he was safe. Before Maria knew it, 3 months passed by, and there was still no news about her son. Then, in the 4th month, she got a call from the military enlistment office asking her to come to the headquarters. When she got there, they told her Alex had died of a heart attack and promised to send his death certificate later in the week. When Maria asked about her son's body, they told her he had already been buried there since they couldn't send his body over because of the war. After hearing of her son's death, Maria became a shadow of herself. A few days later, Maria was so deep in her thoughts that she didn't notice when Lena entered the house. When she finally saw her, she wept harder. "My Alex is gone. My baby is gone. What am I still doing on earth?" Maria cried. Just then, someone knocked on the door, and Lena went to get it. It was a courier, and he handed Alex's death certificate to Lena. When Lena gave Maria the document, the poor woman flung it away and ran into her room with tears in her eyes. Lena picked up the document and noticed something strange. The document showed that Alex had died of pneumonia. How could that be? The military enlistment office said he had died of a heart attack. Lena wondered and told Maria about her findings. Filled with fury and confusion, the women traveled to where Alex was posted and demanded an exhumation and autopsy. "Crazy women, you must be out of your mind. We will do nothing of the kind except offer our condolences," the head of the unit said. Just then, Maria fell to her knees and held the military officer's legs. "If you don't do that, then take me to my son's grave. Let me pay my respects. I will die of worry if I don't know where my son's body is," Maria begged desperately. The head of the unit ordered a soldier to take the women to the graveyard. When the women got there, they learned more shocking details. The date of birth on the tomb didn't match Alex's actual birth details, and the surname was also spelled wrongly. The women went back to the headquarters and made a complaint, but they were told it was a mistake. Later that evening, Maria and Lena returned to the hotel where they were lodging and cried their eyes out. But when it was time to go to bed, an idea struck Maria. "I must see my son one last time. I must see my Alex," Maria said and whispered her plan into Lena's ears. The next morning, the women looked for 2 homeless men and paid them heavily to dig up Alex's grave. Later that night, the men went with Maria and Lena to the grave. Soon enough, Maria joined the men in digging, and she dug with all her strength. After 30 minutes, they finally reached the coffin. With trembling fingers, Maria threw the lid open, and when she saw what was in the coffin, she was speechless. There was nothing but a dead cockroach in it. So where was Alex's body? Maria reported the case to the police right away, and the truth surfaced. As it turned out, Alex and his mates were asked to fight in the war. However, the boys were frightened and ran away. The military unit eventually found everyone except Alex, so they assumed he was dead and faked his death certificate. The unit organized a mass burial for all the dead soldiers, but Alex's coffin was empty. 6 months passed, and a lot happened. The military personnel involved in Alex's case faced the full wrath of the law. As for Maria, she started to look older than her age. Each morning, she sat in the living room thinking about her dead son. If he were alive, how would he look now? She often wondered. Then one day, someone knocked on the door, and Maria went to get it. When she opened the door, she froze. Alex was standing in front of her. Although he looked pale and lean, he had a big smile on his face. "Alex, is that you? Is this real?" Maria whispered. "It's me, Mama. I'm back," Alex said slowly. Maria touched her son's face to be sure she wasn't seeing a ghost. "Indeed, it's you." She screamed and fainted. A few minutes later, Maria woke up and saw her beloved son beside her, and he told her everything that happened. As it turned out, he was held captive by the enemy soldiers and had just been released. Once out, he had found his way home. "I'm so glad that you're here," Maria said and hugged her son happily. A year later, Alex was admitted to college to study medicine and promised never to leave his mom's side again. Of course, he and Lena remained lovebirds. I'm really keen to know your thoughts on this story, so please don't hesitate to share your insights in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and found it engaging, I invite you to subscribe to our channel for more similar content. Feel free to share this video. Take good care of yourselves, and I'm excited to connect with you in our future videos.